This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Wednesday, December 17th, 2025. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
No credible lead into who shot up a classroom in what appears to be a targeted attack at Brown University last weekend. I'm Joan Jones.
Correspondent Marcela Sanchez reports on what the White House Chief of Staff said that surprised the president and members of his cabinet. New details emerge into the Sun, suspected of murdering his parents, Rob Reiner and his wife. And the U.S. plans to target more Venezuelan oil tankers.
On Wall Street, stocks are coming off a mixed day after the unemployment rate hit a 4-year high. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
The Trump administration's responded to a lawsuit filed by the National Trust for Historic Preservation. Ben Thomas, Washington.
President Trump to address the nation tonight. I'm Clayton Neville.
All ahead on America in the Morning. Authorities have released images of a new person of interest in the deadly shooting at Brown University as Rhode Island police and the FBI continue to look for more clues and want the public's help to find the person they believe could be the attacker at the Ivy League school. New information from correspondent Joan Jones.
More video was released in the Brown University shooting, although none of it was from inside the building where the shooting took place. And that is not surprising to Rhode Island Attorney General Peter Nerona.
In that older part of the building, there are fewer, if any, cameras in that location. I imagine because it's an older building.
So what about anyone in the classroom? Can they identify the shooter? Here's what he told WPRI TV reporter Kim Kalunian.
No one inside Ferris and Holly at the time of the shooting has been able to tell investigators this is who this person was, this is what they looked like.
Yeah, to date, no witness has said it's, Joan Jones. What we're working on is talking to those witnesses to get the best physical description we can.
The video released yesterday is more enhanced outdoor security cam footage from nearby homes. It shows an overweight man about 5'8", wearing a two-tone jacket and a black face mask. At times, he was carrying a bag across his body. Providence Police Chief Colonel Oscar Perez saying that it appears the man was casing the surrounding area. Now, as for the motive of the shooting, there still is none at this point in the investigation. During the presser, Perez was asked if Ella Cook, one of the two students who was killed, was targeted. Perez answered no. Cook was the vice president of the Brown College Republicans. Reporters also questioned why the profile of an LGBTQ student who's known as a Palestinian supporter was scrubbed from the university's researchers page. Here's Brown University President Christina Paxson.
I know nothing about web pages being taken down as part of this. It's the first I've heard of it.
Still no answers as to whether anyone entering that building where the shooting took place would have had to swipe an ID badge to gain access, and whether it's confirmed that the shooter was shouting something before the attack. We'll keep following this investigation. I'm Joan Jones.
White House aides and allies on Tuesday rushed to publicly defend Susie Wiles after the chief of staff's jaw-dropping interview in Vanity Fair had her pointedly criticizing the president, vice president, and many in the cabinet. Correspondent Marcela Sanchez reports on the revealing series of conversations with Wiles, who typically shuns the media spotlight.
White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles criticized Attorney General Pam Bondi's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case, saying Bondi mismanaged it with talk about a client list sitting on her desk.
What I'll say about our chief of staff, as you've seen from not just myself, but also the entire cabinet, in a groundswell of support from people on Capitol Hill who don't even work in this building, about how incredible Susie Wiles has been to President Trump. This is, unfortunately, another example of disingenuous reporting, where you have a reporter who took the chief of staff's words wildly out of context, did not include the context those conversations were had within.
Her remarks appeared Tuesday in a series of interviews published by Vanity Fair. Wiles also broadly defended Trump's second administration.
I've never seen Susie Wiles say something to the president and then go and counteract him or subvert his will behind the scenes. And that's what you want in a staffer. We have our disagreements. We agree on much more than we disagree, but I've never seen her be disloyal to the President of the United States, and that makes her the best White House chief of staff that I think the President could ask for.
On Venezuela, she said Trump would continue to be aggressive and defended Trump's retribution against people he perceives as political enemies. After the story was published, Wiles described it as a, quote, disingenuously framed hit piece on me and the finest president, White House staff, and cabinet in history. Wiles did not deny the quotes that were attributed to her. She's been speaking to Vanity Fair since just before Trump took office last January. Marcela Sanchez, Washington.
New details surrounding Nick Reiner, charged with killing his parents. After these messages. This is America in the Morning. A break in some of the torrential rains in the Pacific Northwest. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
It looks like today brings a day of reprieve from what has been a rather wet start to the month in the Pacific Northwest, with the latest storm pushing farther to the east but leaving lingering showers for western Washington and Oregon and northern California rather than hours of steady rain. There can still be several inches of snow through today in the Washington Cascades, leading to blizzard conditions today as the gusty winds remain in place for that area, while steadier rain and snow extend from eastern Oregon into Idaho and western Montana, and showers from central Montana and Wyoming into the Dakotas, even northern Utah, Nevada, and Colorado. The push of stronger wind also follows that storm eastward, with widespread gusts of at least 40 miles per hour from inland portions of the Pacific Northwest eastward toward the Minnesota border, northwestern Nebraska, and much of northern Utah, the majority of Colorado, and even north-central New Mexico. The strongest gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour also cover quite a bit of ground through tonight, namely west-central Montana to eastern Wyoming and areas of Colorado just northwest of Denver. These gusts will help to elevate the fire risk from northeastern New Mexico to western Nebraska today, and perhaps even tomorrow in spots, also creating blizzard conditions late tonight for parts of North Dakota and Minnesota as snow develops. Snow showers also build into far northern New England this afternoon, with a mix of snow and rain before then for northern New York, perhaps even some early drizzle in northwestern Pennsylvania. Rain showers spread across parts of southern and eastern Texas and as far north as Arkansas, perhaps even Tennessee, with the mid-Atlantic, desert southwest, and Great Lakes dry today. In Riverton, Wyoming, it's looking windy. Clouds lead to rain and snow showers this afternoon, high 54. For Blacksburg, Virginia, sun gives way to clouds, high 50. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. President Trump ramps up pressure on Venezuela by announcing he's ordering a blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers entering and leaving the South American country in an escalation of the administration's month-long pressure campaign against Nicolas Maduro, the leader of Venezuela. Trump's announcement of a blockade could be the prelude to the seizure of more ships. This after the U.S. military seized a ship called the Skipper, a falsely flagged vessel and carrying approximately 1.8 million barrels of oil. Trump has also said that the U.S. operations against alleged narco-traffickers will soon expand onto land, targeting inside Venezuela. The U.S. continues to carry out precision strikes on suspected drug boats in the Eastern Pacific and the Caribbean. The Los Angeles District Attorney will be unveiling murder charges against the son of legendary actor and director Rob Reiner and his wife. New details are emerging about Nick Reiner, accused of killing his parents. Correspondent Haya Panjwani reports.
Prosecutors say Rob Reiner's son, Nick, will be charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the killing of his parents.
Today I'm here to announce that our office will be filing charges against Nick Reiner, who is accused of killing his parents, actor-director Rob Reiner, and photographer-producer Michelle Singer Reiner.
Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman announced the charges against 32-year-old Nick Reiner at a news conference.
These charges will be 2 counts of first-degree murder with a special circumstance of multiple murders. He also faces a special allegation that he personally used a dangerous and deadly weapon that being a knife.
The announcement of the charges came 2 days after the famed actor and director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle Singer Reiner were found dead in their Los Angeles home. Nick's attorney Alan Jackson said medical reasons kept his client from making his first court appearance Tuesday. Los Angeles Police Chief Jim McDonnell.
This case is heartbreaking and deeply personal, not only for the Reiner family and their loved ones, but for our entire city. We extend our deepest condolences to all of those who were affected by this tragedy.
I'm Haya Panjwani.
New unemployment numbers spook investors on Wall Street, and the EV market stalls. Those stories and more next when America in the Morning continues after these messages. The Business Report is sponsored by Gusto. Gusto is a simple online payroll and benefits tool built for small businesses. Learn more at gusto.com/radio. Here's CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opens this morning after the unemployment rate went up again last month. Stocks ended the day mixed yesterday, with the Dow dropping 300 points. It was a lackluster jobs report for November. The U.S. created 64,000 new jobs last month. That was actually better than expected, but the unemployment rate moved to its highest in more than 4 years.
The unemployment rate, and this, of course, is what everybody's been waiting for, did indeed move up to 4.6%. 4.6% would be the hottest going back to July of 21.
CNBC's Rick Santelli. Here's the Manhattan Institute's Allison Schrager on CNBC.
We keep getting these reports where you sort of have a labor market and, still sort of worrying inflation. When you hear Fed officials, they seem to still think that inflation is going to magically go back to 2%. And I think this is just another data point that suggests that's just not magically happening.
One investor says the labor market rolling over means the Fed will continue to cut interest rates, and that will help the stock market.
On labor, labor undeniably is weakening. The unemployment rate has basically ticked up to 4.6%, which is a post-pandemic high. I think there's a green light for cuts.
Goldman Sachs, Ashok Varadhan on CNBC. Oil hit its lowest price in 4 years, which means prices at the pump could keep ticking lower. But shares of oil companies, Exxon, Chevron, and Shell, they all fell. With gas prices down, fewer people may feel compelled to buy electric vehicles. And Ford decided to pivot away from those, and it'll build hybrids instead.
It's clear the market for electric vehicles is just not going to develop as quickly as many originally thought, let's say 5 years ago. Ford has got to make the pivot, and it's paying a hefty price to do this, but they're making the pivot towards more hybrids. And if you are going to have EVs, they're going to either be smaller or they're going to be extended range EVs.
CNBC's Phil LeBeau. Tesla shares happened to hit a record high yesterday, even as fewer people buy EVs. Wall Street rallied around hype for robo-taxis. Facebook parent Meta is getting into the TV business with its Instagram social media platform.
Instagram is launching its first Instagram for TV app, taking on YouTube. Instagram for TV will autoplay reels customized based on users' likes. Now, while Meta says the app will launch without ads, it will eventually add them.
CNBC's Julia Borston. On today's watch list, earnings are coming from Micron and General Mills. The Powerball jackpot tonight, $1.25 billion.
Thank you. There's CNBC's Jessica Ettinger. When we return on America in the Morning, President Trump to address the nation tonight. A preview after these messages. Welcome back. You're with America in the Morning. A U.S. district judge says he's inclined to allow the continuation of construction of a ballroom addition, giving the White House additional time to submit plans to the court for review. Correspondent Ben Thomas reports the Trump administration says the White House ballroom construction is a matter of national security.
They just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. and it's going to be a beauty. It'll be an absolutely magnificent structure. And I just see all the trucks. We just started, so it'll get done very nicely, and it'll be one of the best anywhere in the world, actually.
The Trump administration's responded to a lawsuit filed by the National Trust for Historic Preservation, seeking to halt construction of the president's White House ballroom until it goes through independent reviews, a public comment period, and wins approval from Congress. The administration's 36-page response says the work must continue for national security reasons. It includes a declaration from the Secret Service that the work's needed to meet the agency's safety and security requirements, though it did not explain the specific national security concerns. The now demolished east wing of the White House had set atop an emergency operations bunker for the president. Ben Thomas, Washington.
President Trump took to social media to announce he'll hold a primetime address to the nation tonight. Correspondent Clayton Neville has a preview.
President Trump posted on social media this week that he'll deliver a live national address on TV tonight from the White House. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt spoke about the address with Fox News.
It's going to be a really good speech. I was just in the Oval Office with the president discussing it. He's going to talk a lot about the accomplishments over the past 11 months, all that he's done to bring our country back to greatness, and all he continues to plan to do to continue delivering for the American people over the next 3 years.
In his Truth Social post, President Trump said, quote, "It's been a great year for our country, and the best is yet to come." Tonight's address slated for 9 o'clock Eastern Time. I'm Clayton Neville.
America in the Morning for Wednesday, December 17th, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour.
Republicans say there will be no vote in the House to extend Obamacare subsidies that are set to skyrocket in the new year. I'm John Stolnis in Washington.
Pete Hegseth says the public will not get to see unedited video of a boat strike in the Caribbean. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Learning more about the suspected father and son gunman in Australia. I'm Clayton Neville.
The Trump administration is expanding its travel ban to include 5 more countries and impose new limits on others. Hiya Panjwani, Washington.
Be careful what your kids watch on streaming because mistakes do happen. I'm Kevin Carr.
Back after these messages. Back now on America in the Morning. High winds are expected today in the plains and interior northwest. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
A rather strong storm destined to track across the northern part of the country through the remainder of this week will be the focus for both an area of gusty winds and precipitation. And for today, the strongest wind shifts from western Washington and Oregon into the northern high plains and Colorado. This means that peak wind gusts from 60 to 70 miles per hour are expected from west central Montana, south and east into western South Dakota, and south from there into the Colorado Rockies, with even higher gusts possible in the area around Glacier National Park. That is also the general zone where steadier rain and mountain snow are more likely today, with precipitation turning more showery toward the northwest coast after another day of substantial rainfall. Gusts to at least 40 miles per hour may also occur from interior Washington and Oregon through the Dakotas and even into northern parts of Nevada and Utah with some showers, and it even gets gusty into New Mexico, resulting in a heightened fire risk from western Nebraska to the Santa Fe area of New Mexico thanks to low humidity in place in those areas. AccuWeather winter weather experts say that those strong winds will even lead to some blizzard conditions from North Dakota to northwestern Minnesota tonight into tomorrow, with snowfall through tomorrow of mainly 1 to 3 inches over the northern part of that area, combining with gusty winds to lead to an extended period of reduced visibility and dangerous travel conditions. A couple of additional areas of wet weather will develop today, one of which is in the south, where a storm already in place will produce showers from the western Gulf Coast into Mississippi and Arkansas, with thunder most likely near and along the Texas coastline. Another storm passing through the northeast will bring areas of rain and snow to northern and western New York, snow for parts of New England near the Canadian border. That's the weather across America. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. House Republican leaders say there will be no votes on compromise legislation that some moderate Republicans and Democrats want to see that would extend Obamacare subsidies, set to increase significantly for millions of Americans in 2026. John Stolnis has the latest from Washington.
House Speaker Mike Johnson confirming to reporters that after a weekend of negotiations, Obamacare subsidies will not be addressed by the House.
We looked for a way to try to allow for that pressure release valve, and it just was not to be. We worked on it all the way through the weekend, in fact, and in the end, there was not an agreement wasn't made. Now, everybody was at the table in good faith.
Republicans in vulnerable districts like New York's Mike Lawler worked with Democrats on extension bills that came with some reforms, but were rebuffed by more conservative members of his caucus.
11 Republicans have signed on to those discharge petitions. Now, why is that necessary? Because House Republican leadership will not allow a vote. It is idiotic and shameful.
Democratic Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said the Speaker's decision will cause pain for millions of Americans.
Well, tell that to an American family that's got to pay $500 to $1,000 more a month for their health care. It's just not to be. It's only just not to be because Johnson doesn't want it to be. And too many of his people are like that.
However, Johnson says Republicans are uniting behind their health care reform bill that he says will provide real solutions to a larger number of Americans rather than a Band-Aid solution for a few.
Instead of just trying to assist 7% of Americans, this is for 100% of Americans.
Johnson's refusal essentially ensures that millions of Americans will see a significant increase in premiums in 2026. Freedom Caucus Republican Chip Roy says Democrats are to blame.
My colleagues on the other side of the aisle sit here saying, well, you guys aren't doing anything about the massive expensive cost of health care. Why do you think it's expensive? Because you literally cut a deal with insurance companies to run health care. You think that's going to run wild? Yeah.
A test vote for the 111-page Republican plan that focuses on expanding coverage options for small businesses and the self-employed is expected later today. John Stolnis, Washington.
There was both understanding and anger on Capitol Hill after Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told senators he will not release video of a controversial boat strike to the American public. Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports.
I reiterated my demand of Secretary Hegseth in front of all 100 senators that he allow every senator to see the unedited version, the unedited video of what happened on September 2nd. He refused. The administration came to this briefing empty-handed. That's the major question that we face.
The least of my concerns is this friggin' video. Release it, make your own decisions. This is lawful. I have every confidence that what they're doing is no different than what Bush did.
I actually think that it was, for me, more of an exercise in futility. Really had no answers. Really didn't gain anything more than what the public already has gotten.
Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth says the public will not get to see unedited video of a boat strike that killed survivors in the Caribbean. After briefing senators with Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Hegseth says members of the two armed services committees will get to see the video, but he's not saying if all lawmakers will. And,
of course, we're not going to release a top secret full unedited video of that to the general public.
The two secretaries defended the boat strikes and growing military escalation off Venezuela as helping stop drugs from reaching the U.S.
Provide updates on this counter-drug mission, which is focused on dismantling the infrastructure of these terrorist organizations that are operating in our hemisphere, undermining the security of Americans, killing Americans, poisoning Americans. And this has been a highly successful mission that's ongoing.
Bipartisan investigations are looking into the strikes, and California Democrat Adam Schiff is among those questioning how it's all being done.
I found the legal explanations and the strategic explanations incoherent.
Schiff says he'll push for the Senate to vote on making the video public. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
We're learning more about the father and son believed to be responsible for a terror attack in Sydney, Australia over the weekend that authorities say targeted Jews. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports Australians are speaking out saying their government has been lax against stopping anti-Semitic activity.
The shooting happened at a Hanukkah event at Bondi Beach. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says the alleged father and son gunman who killed 15 people and injured more than 40 traveled to the Philippines in the weeks leading up to the attack and may have been inspired by ISIS. A Holocaust survivor, a 10-year-old, and a rabbi among the dead who range in age from 10 to 87 and include French, Israeli, and Slovak citizens. Albanese said that Australia will tighten already strict gun laws.
We are a brave country. Ahmed Al-Ahmed represents the best of our country. We will not allow this country to be divided. That is what the terrorists seek. We will unite. We will embrace each other.
Some Australian leaders, though, question the Prime Minister's approach and say that recent anti-Semitism in Australia could have been handled better.
I think the Prime Minister is throwing up a smokescreen to say that what this shows is that we need better gun laws. Sure, we might need that, but what we need most of all is zero tolerance of anti-Jewish hate speech. And frankly, in Australia, and indeed in quite a few other countries, including Britain, there has been far too much tolerance of anti-Jewish hate speech over the last 2 years.
Former Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott spoke with the BBC.
We haven't deported hate preachers. We haven't banned hate marches. We haven't prosecuted people for saying that the Jewish people of Israel should effectively suffer a new Holocaust. And the trouble is, if you hate the Jews of Israel, you'll end up hating the Jews of Australia and Britain. And if you hate them enough, we see atrocities like that we witnessed.
The father and son suspects reportedly stood on an overpass bridge near the Hanukkah event and shouted Allah Akbar as they carried out the attack. The father was shot and killed by police, and the son was critically hurt and hospitalized. Police in New South Wales now say that a car registered to the 24-year-old son contained IEDs and ISIS flags. I'm Clayton Neville.
The U.S. bans more nationalities from entering the U.S. When America in the Morning continues after these messages. Thousands of people in the counties that surround Boulder, Colorado, are going to find themselves in the dark come midday today. Xcel Energy announced they'll be cutting off the power to more than 50,000 customers in 5 Colorado counties. Reason being, the area is expected to get hit with exceptionally strong winds today, gusts reaching 75 miles per hour, along with warmer than usual weather. And the company said the power outages are meant to prevent any downed power lines from sparking a fire. On Monday, Denver tied a century-old heat record, reaching 68 degrees for the warmest December 15th on record since 1921. This also marked the city's 7th consecutive day with temperatures hitting at least 60 degrees. The White House has revised their list of nations under a travel ban to the United States, adding an additional 20 countries. Correspondent Haya Panjwani reports.
The Trump administration is expanding its travel ban to include 5 more countries and impose new limits on others. The decision follows the arrest of an Afghan national suspected of shooting 2 National Guard troops over Thanksgiving weekend. In June, President Donald Trump announced that citizens of 12 countries would be banned from visiting the United States, and those from 7 others would face restrictions. The Republican administration announced it was adding Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, South Sudan, and Syria. An additional 15 countries are also being added to the list of countries facing partial restrictions, including Angola, Benin, Gambia, Nigeria, Senegal, and Zimbabwe, among others. Haya Panjwani, Washington.
The fight over California's new congressional map designed to help Democrats flip a string of U.S. House seats kicked off in court, where a panel of federal judges is considering whether the reworked districts approved by voters last month can be used in the 2026 midterm election. The hearing in Los Angeles sets the stage for a high-stakes legal and political fight between the Trump administration and California Governor Gavin Newsom. The lawsuit asks a three-judge panel to grant a temporary restraining order blocking the new map, which must be done by Friday, the date candidates can take the first official steps to run in the 2026 elections, when GOP control of the House will be in play. California voters approved Proposition 50, which was designed to counter the Texas state legislature's move to change their state voting maps, a move that could turn 5 Lone Star blue districts red. Missouri, North Carolina, and Ohio have also adopted new district lines, all 3 state legislatures approving the moves. Shifting gears, a British company has created a new data storage crystal that could be indestructible and may outlive all of us by about 1 billion years. Chuck Palm has that story today in his segment, The New Old Tech Guy.
A UK-based startup called Photonics, founded just last year, has raised $4.5 million to make a 5D optical storage memory crystal they nicknamed Superman. Engineers use an ultra-fast femtosecond laser, whose pulses last just 1/4 of a second, to etch tiny nanostructures called voxels inside a disk of fused silica glass, making it nearly indestructible. These voxels are stored not just in the usual 3 spatial dimensions, but with 2 additional optical properties: size and orientation, hence the 5D. One 5-inch glass platter could hold up to 360 terabytes of data, and they suspect it could last up to 13.8 billion years. Compare that to today's hard drives or memory tapes, which might just last a few decades before failing or becoming obsolete. Built upon decades of research from the University of Southampton, where they've already archived the human genome and classic video games. They're planning on storing more than just your old Atari cartridges, and thanks to AI, projections say we'll generate hundreds of trillions of zettabytes every year by 2028. With no spinning disks or moving parts, this is not for your home computer yet, but definitely watch for them coming to a data center near you. Find more info at thenewOldTechGuide.com. I'm Chuck Palm.
Robert Workman's in with sports this Wednesday on America in the Morning.
The New York Knicks captured the NBA Cup final in Las Vegas last night, storming past the Spurs 124-113. San Antonio led for most of the night and was up by 11 with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter before New York found its groove, going on a 16-2 run to grab the lead early in the fourth. OG Anunoby had a game-high 28 points. Jalen Brunson added 25 and was named Cup MVP.
I'm very excited. It's a goal of ours that we get to check off, and it's an important stepping stone for us.
College basketball, 5 top 10 teams in action. They all won by an average of 27 points, but number 11 Louisville got hammered at number 20 Tennessee. The top team in the NHL, the Avalanche, scored 3 times in the third to upend the Kraken 5-3. 2 of those goals by Nathan McKinnon. That gives him 28 goals and 58 points, and both of those numbers lead the league. The Wild whitewashed the Capitals 5-0. Philip Gustafsson made 25 saves. Minnesota has won 5 straight and is now third in the league in points. Thatcher Demko stopped 23 shots as the Canucks blanked the Rangers 3-0. Oilers beat the Penguins 6-4. 4 assists for Leon Draisaitl to go over 1,000 points for his career. 6 straight losses for Pittsburgh. Victories for the Bruins, Blue Jackets, Maple Leafs, Flyers, Red Wings, and Sharks. College football bowl season in Montgomery, Alabama. The Salute to Veterans Bowl. Jacksonville State turned back Troy 17-13. 2 games this evening. In Orlando, the Cure Bowl has Old Dominion against South Florida. Then it's the 68 Ventures Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. Louisiana versus Delaware. The college football playoff first-round games are Friday and Saturday. That's Wednesday Sports.
When we return on America in the Morning, the fate of a secretive California religious group after these messages. America in the Morning continues. The long arm of the law caught up to members of a secretive California religious group who've been charged with murder in the deaths of a man who disappeared in 2023 and a child who died in 2010. Details from correspondent Jennifer King.
A secretive religious sect is at the heart of new murder charges filed in California. Daryl Martin, his wife Shelley Martin, and Andre Thomas, members of a religious group based in Hemet, have been charged with murder in the 2010 death of Thomas's 4-year-old son, Timothy. A statement from San Bernardino County DA Jason Anderson describes Shelley as a leader and prophet of a religious high-control group called His Way Spirit-Led Assemblies. Police say the little boy died after his parents placed him with the Martins, who then prevented Timothy from receiving treatment for appendicitis. Shelley Martin has also been charged in the death of 40-year-old Emilio Ganem. Ganem was a former His Way member who moved to Nashville, but when he traveled back to California in 2023, he disappeared. Ganem's burnt-out rental pickup truck was found in the Mojave Desert, but his body was never recovered. Investigators say new information from former His Way members helped lead to the charges. I'm Jennifer King.
Parents worry about what their young children might be watching while they're online. In the UK, a number of them hoping to watch a popular kids' movie instead were directed to an R-rated romance film, courtesy of a mistake made by Amazon. Entertainment reporter Kevin Carr explains.
Amazon found itself in hot water recently with a British regulatory organization. It all began when a family rented the 2010 PG-rated film Diary of a Wimpy Kid on Prime.
This is not a diary, it's a journal.
Based on the best-selling book by Jeff Kinney, the story follows a boy navigating the waters of middle school.
Let me just say for the record that middle school is the dumbest idea ever invented.
This place is an intellectual wasteland.
Stop! You almost got the cheese duct.
Instead of a wimpy kid, renters got the 2010 R-rated romance Love and Other Drugs, which stars Jake Gyllenhaal as a Viagra representative who falls in love with Anne Hathaway.
I hear we're coming out with a new sex drug, Viagra. I want it. This is a revolution.
I've already sold 2,000 prescriptions this month alone. Why don't you have a boyfriend?
Just keep it simple.
The film opens with adult content featuring strong language, with Gyllenhaal talking about marijuana use before having sex in the back office of an electronics store. The user complained to Amazon but did not get an immediate response, so they complained to Ofcom, which regulates streamers in the UK. Amazon discovered that after licensing both features from the same company, they were given identical codes to play the films. Amazon sorted things out within 48 hours, but not before 122 accounts had accessed the wrong movie.
Zooey mama!
Amazon apologized and Ofcom declared they were in breach of their rules, but did not issue a fine. I'm Kevin Carr.
America in the Morning for Wednesday, December 17th, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.